everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smackdown Live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's going on next Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. I do believe we may have. I don't know if we're going to have Michael Bullock today. I don't know if tonight's if this is the weekend of the Super Plunge or if it's next weekend.
Next week.
It is next week. All right. So we will. Hopefully, we'll have Michael Bullock here on tonight. I don't know if he is or not. If he is, great. If he's not, then I think we'll see him on Sunday night for the NCAA selection special event that we will have. That will be at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Tone 25 on Anthony's YouTube on Anthony's YouTube page, and it'll also be available on StreamYard.com as well. So, as always, we're going to start out with TNA Wrestling, and then we will follow that up by Smackdown Live from Barcelona, Spain, from the Olímpico Arena in Barcelona tonight. That was earlier this afternoon, as a matter of fact. We had started the European leg of the road to WrestleMania. So with that said, we do indeed jump this baby off with SmackDown, with TNA, and here we go. So we started out with, give me 1 second, I'm trying to get this thing to load, okay? We started out with the man advantage, the man who would get the power play if they win their respective match. This was for the 10-man steel cage match at Sacrifice. It was Leon Slater going one-on-one with Eddie Edwards, winner of the bout in 9 minutes and 42 seconds with Eddie Edwards. This was a really good match. Hard work fight too. Well done. I could say about 2.5 to 3 stars is the outcome. Obviously, Eddie Edwards was going to win the match. That gives the heels, that gives the system the power play, as we would say. And we'll talk about that match on Tuesday night as it pertains to Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. So, nothing more to say. 2.5 to 3. Anthony, it is yours.
The villain winning this is the only thing that makes sense, and as good as Slater has been, there is nothing wrong with him losing to a former multi-time world champion. Eddie Edwards had to win to give his team the advantage, so they weren't going in any weird direction here. Fine enough match. I'll give it a solid 3 stars for the effort here. So, fine match. No surprise about the outcome. You know, whenever there's an advantage match, the heels usually win it 9 out of 10. So, and this is one of those times. So, that is a 9 out of 10. So, solid 3 stars for me. So, with that being said, MF, let's set me up for the next match.
Wesley going one-on-one with the Laredo Kid, and it was Wesley winning the match in 7 minutes and 20 seconds.
2.5 stars for me here. Wesley gets to win something around here over a talented star. Even if Laredo Kid has only done so much in TNA, it helps that Wesley is someone who has done enough around TNA before. So if it isn't the biggest stretch, not a bad match at all, but Kid losing time after time has taken away a lot of his value. So I'll give this a solid 2.5 stars, and it gives Wesley momentum for him and DuPont and Igwe as they would go up against the Rascals and Ace Austin. We'll address that on Tuesday, but for right now, this is a 2.5 star match. MF, what says you?
I agree. 2.5 star match. I thought they did a really good job with it, and yeah, I think this was solid for what it was worth. So, really nothing more to say here. So Anthony, we just move on, and the next thing that we had on the show was Xia Brookside going one-on-one with Rosemary. Xia Brookside winning the match in 5 minutes and 22 seconds via disqualification because Rosemary spitted out the green mist in the eyes of Xia Brookside. this is about 2 stars. Could have been better in certain elements. I understand why they did the DQ finish. There's really nothing more to say here, Anthony. So just a quick thought so that we could just move on along.
This didn't have the time to go very far, and I'm a little bit confused about what it was supposed to do. Rosemary was being hyped up as wanting to get back into the Knockouts title picture, but she just attacked Xia Brookside when she was already winning a match. Odds are there will be a rematch we'll get a rematch out of this, and I could go with either of these two moving up the standings a bit. So, solid 2 stars. MF, let's move on.
Unfortunately, we do have a cutout here. It was JDC, Johnny Dango Curtis going up against Cody Deaner, and JDC winning the match in 1 minute and 56 seconds. And as I said, this is an automatic cutout, not even worth our time or to explain ourselves. This one we will explain. Anthony will lead this off.
No,
it was Master Slamovich and Lee. They went up against Tessa Blanchard and Cora Jade, and it was Tessa Blanchard and Cora Jade winning the match in 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Championship committee moment as Tessa Blanchard hits the hammerlock DDT on Masha Slamovich for the win, but you can also say that it was also attainted because Cora Jade actually got her hands on the Knockouts title and blasted Masha, leading into that hammerlock DDT for the 1, 2, 3. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star for this. While Sacrifice was tonight, this felt like a way to get things ready for whatever the next major pay-per-view is going to be, which is the Rebellion event on Sunday, April 27th. Like her or not, and we all know Michael Bullock cannot stand Tessa Blanchard, and I can certainly understand why. But whether you like her or you don't, Tessa Blanchard is an absolute star, and putting her in the Knockouts title picture immediately is not a stretch. And I could go for seeing the match, and this very well may have helped set it up. So I'm looking at Rebellion, April 27th. That will be Masha Slamovich versus Tessa Blanchard for the Knockouts Championship. And I believe on that night, Tessa Blanchard will be the Knockouts Champion. So get used to it. You may not like her, but you got to deal with it. So 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. Championship committee moment. MF, it's Rebellion. It's April 27th. We're going to book it, and Tessa's going to win the belt right there.
All right. I think so, too. I do agree. I think you're right, Anthony. This is about 2, like you said. Nice win for Tessa. Yes, it's a tainted victory, but then again, are we surprised more than anything else? I think not on this one. So after a long promo segment, we did have ourselves the next fight of the evening, which was Joe Henry putting the TNA World Heavyweight title on the line against Ryan Nemeth, but that match was shortly lived because Joe Henry won the match in 18 seconds. But Santino said, no, I need to let you know, Joe, Ryan was not your opponent. Basically, Ryan Nemeth was not the guy that I had chosen for you to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship. So, if you allow me, I like to give you a better opponent. I like to give you a worthy opponent and a reason why that you would be deserving to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. I want to give you another guy. So, Joe Henry, he's like, all right, you're good with that. Who do you got? Who's my opponent? How about Alexander Hammerstone? Well,
Lordy.
Yeah. So we got Joe Henry versus Alexander Hammerstone, winner of the bout, in 12 minutes even, and still the TNA World Champion, Joe Henry. Anthony Florio, we don't need to talk about the Ryan Nemeth fight because that one was a complete and utter dud. But Hammerstone versus Henry? Okay, Santino, we were going to blast you and we were going to riot, but well done, my friend. Well done.
Well done indeed. 3.25 to 3.5 stars. This was the fight of the night. This was a perfectly fine match and a way to get the champ in the ring. That being said, Hammerstone has gotten even bigger, and it made him look almost goofy in a way. It doesn't help that he has never really won much of anything in TNA, at least not in a good while. But at the moment, he is little more than an intimidating looking star who gets beaten almost every time. So, but this was a perfectly solid match here. 3.5 to 3.25 to 3.5, I should say. But it was still the fight of the night here. So, not much more to say. MF, let's get your thoughts.
3.25, no doubt about it. They did an amazing job with the main event. I thought the fight was excellent. I love Alexander Hammerstone. I know him very well from NLW. He's a star, man. And this guy, for TNA to bring this guy over, it's a blessing in disguise. And they did a great job with this. So I got really nothing. I'm not mad at all. I thought this was a solid main event. And with that said, overall review, I thought it was actually an all right show. I think they did a really good job. There was one dud fight, well, two dud matches the whole night. Other than that, not much to complain about. I would say about 7.25 stars for me. I thought they did a fine job. So, Anthony, it's yours.
7 to 7.25 out of 10. The wrestling was not the best here, but what mattered was helping to build up Sacrifice. That show is looking like one of the biggest non-major pay-per-views that TNA has presented in a long time, with a ladder match and somewhat of a lethal lockdown, plus one hell of a grudge match between Mike Santana and Mustafa Ali. There is a lot of potential on that show, and while last night's show didn't really, pique some people's interest, it kept things going well enough on the way to El Paso, Texas for Sacrifice. And MF and I will give you our thoughts about Sacrifice this Tuesday night as part of Ridiculously Raw. So you're not going to want to miss that. So 7 to 7.25 out of 10 for me as well. And now we move on. Friday night SmackDown, the start of the big European tour for WWE on the road to WrestleMania, no less. And MF, European tour, you know what that means. Knucklehead crowds. Let's go.
Yes. And you know I love them. You know I love the crowds in. You know how much I love the crowds in it when we get outside of the United States, it gets even crazier. Yes, it's from the Olympic Arena in Barcelona, Spain, in España. We started off with LA Knight coming out, interrupted by Jimmy Uso. He cut in a promo saying that he would like to have an opportunity for a shot at the U.S. title. Interrupted by Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga. They came out to try to vouch. Braun Strowman came out, and we got ourselves a 6-man tag team fight. When it was all said and done, winner of the bout, 10 minutes and 35 seconds, was LA Knight, Jimmy Uso, Braun Strowman. They win it. Braun Strowman with the running power slam on Tama Tonga to end it. Yeah, solid opener. Really good matchup. I really enjoyed it. I really got nothing bad to say. It was fine. So I thought it was a good matchup and nothing more to say. Winners, Anthony. I'll gladly say this is at least about 2.5 to 3 for me.
3 to 3.25 for me. This match followed a very familiar path. WWE 6-man matches tend to fall into a pattern, so they are easy to follow, but sometimes that can lead to a lack of excitement until all hell breaks loose at the end. Decent way to kick off the show. The crowd was hot. Hence, I say knucklehead crowd. I mean, because MF's words, not mine, but because I know that's exactly what he said during the show. Like I said, decent way to kick off the show. Crowd was hot, and a couple of different storylines were addressed. But the match itself fell a bit flat in the middle. LA Knight allowed the crowd to chant for a long time before he spoke. It's tough to decide if Solo Sikoa is better as a silent killer or if he is better when he is allowed to be a little funny. Both are good. And Braun Strowman running everyone over at ringside got the biggest pop in the match, but the crowd was loud the whole time. And Luigi PS3 loves it when Braun Strowman runs around outside the ring. She gets really excited about that. And I can certainly understand why. Every time that I remember watching some past videos of hers and seeing Strowman do his thing outside the ring, she's like, I love it when Braun Strowman runs. And next week, Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu are going to run it back. Oh. In Bologna, Italy. Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
That is true.
My fellow Italianos. Oh, boy. Oh. Whenever we have a match of this magnitude, what do you always say, Monsoon, about the ring?
I hope it's reinforced. Absolutely.
Yep. 3 to 3 1/4. And nothing really more to say on this. So the only thing left for me to say on this MF is you thought you had a crowded tag team title picture. Your United States title picture is just as crowded, if not more.
Yes.
Looking at a multi-man match at Mania, possibly. But I could be wrong. We'll see. So, not much more to say on this. And MF, we move on to what would be the biggest match of BFAB's not only career, but her life.
He goes one-on-one with Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair winning the match in 9 minutes and 5 seconds. No big surprise here with the figure 8. But then Charlotte refused to release the hold. Well, that prompted out the WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton to hit the ring. And we had a cat fight in Barcelona.
Oh,
yeah, it exploded. It went down.
Well, and, that escalated quickly.
Huh?
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, it escalated very fast. So, like Anthony, it is yours.
Oh boy, where do I start? Hard to believe, but I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna call this the sleeper fight of the night. I mean, I thought Charlotte was gonna, bury her. I thought Charlotte was gonna probably deliciously squash her within 2 to 3 minutes, but no, they gave it time, and BFAB actually looked halfway decent. I got to be honest. I mean, BFAB taking on one of the most decorated champions in WWE today in Charlotte Flair. The 2-time Royal Rumble winner looked as confident as ever as she squared off with someone who has far less experience. BFAB is in a weird spot in WWE. She was called up too soon and clearly still needs work in the ring, but she has a lot of charisma and is working hard to improve. Putting her in the ring with someone as smooth as Charlotte makes her inexperience that much more evident. This match had some highlights, such as Charlotte rolling BFAB around while holding her in a head scissor, but the huge experience gap led to some awkward moments. That being said, this was probably the best BFAB has looked in the ring. The Queen won with a natural selection, followed by figure 8. Charlotte refused to release the hold until Tiffany Stratton showed up, started a massive brawl. Over a dozen Gestapo security guards couldn't keep them apart as they brawled for a few minutes. And I'm going to tell you what, MF, that pull-apart brawl, that epic brawl with Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, that was far more entertaining than the match that preceded it.
Oh, yeah.
WWE's recap videos have always been high quality, but the way the company has been trying to make everything seem more dramatic recently has been both good and bad. And for a feud like Naomi and Jade Cargill, it works. BFAB was billed from Hall of Fame City, Ohio, which is a fancy way of saying she is from Canton. And you notice she delivered most of her backstage promo in Spanish for the local crowd. And Tiffany Stratton got a little caught up trying to get into the ring, and it delayed her attack by a second. But you know what the highlights were out of this. I mean, it's one thing when Tiffany Stratton does a swanton tope con hilo type move off of the top rope. I mean, we've seen her do that many of times before. She did it from the top of the Tron. What? Whoa. Now, it was so unbelievable. MF actually yelled out, "Look at this," in Spanish. Yeah, that's how you did it. You did it in Spanish, and then you let it in "Ay Dios mío," and then the fans going crazy, and we were eating up every second of it. And for the longest time, we have been wanting WWE to give us a reason to care about this match. I believe MF after tonight, I think we finally have a reason to give a damn about this match. Holy hell, that was amazing. 3 stars for the match. Or actually 2.5 to 3 stars for the match. But that post-match with Tiffy and Charlotte, holy hell, that was nuts. That was nutty. So, I don't know what else there is to say. MF, epicness on that call tonight. Epicness.
Yeah. Not every time I have to try to think of something different, but this time being in Barcelona, I hardly ever do Spanish. You know that. Once in a rare while, I'll pull it out. I know you heard a lot of it when we were doing Puerto Rico, when we were doing the Backlash in Puerto Rico. Mexico, I've done enough in my day. So it just felt right doing it in Barca, man. It felt right doing it in Barcelona. So it was awesome. That was amazing. Yeah. And the brawl really accentuated the whole situation, and dude, it's got us interested now for that title fight at WrestleMania. So yeah, you gave us you had give us a reason for us to care. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair gave us a reason and then some here tonight to say, "Hey boys, watch us at WrestleMania." Okay, we shall, as they say. After all that, by the way, 2.5 stars for the match too. It was really good. Well done. Next up we had was the Miz TV with Cody Rhodes. It was pretty standard fare more than anything else. Cody does get the Miz, hit him with the crossroads at the end. So yeah, really good segment. Nothing more to say, but it will set into what's gonna be an explosion on Monday night in Brussels, or Monday afternoon in Brussels, Belgium. Anthony Florio, get ready. Cena, Cody in the same building, in the same arena. Monday Night Raw is going to be nuts. 3 p.m. Eastern on Netflix, by the way, folks. If you're wondering when and where to watch it, so there. Nothing much to say, Anthony, about the Miz TV. It was standard fare, but like I said, but it does set us up for an explosion like no other on Monday.
It was short and sweet. It was the definition of filler, but it didn't overstay its welcome. A lot of WWE talking segments have felt longer than necessary lately, so it was nice to see one that was quick and effective, even if it didn't accomplish much. And Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton were still fighting just as Miz was ready to start this thing. And we saw it. Tiffany Stratton diving off the Titantron onto Charlotte and the security guards to end the fight. And the Miz referring to John Cena as a great rapper was hilarious. So there isn't much more to say on that. So we move on now. Our next match, MF. This next match, this is an MF special because these two guys are two of your all timers right here.
Yeah, Shinsuke Nakamura going one-on-one with Damian Priest. Unfortunately, the fight gets thrown out in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Drew McIntyre ran in and jumped Damian, and basically, yeah, the fight gets thrown out. Nothing more to say. Anthony, disappointment, but again, not a big surprise as we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. The match we got was fine, but just like the BFAB and Charlotte match, the post-match beatdown with a third party was better. And let's see if Priest was 5 to 10% quicker with his strikes, he would be one of the most dangerous looking fighters in WWE. His limbs are so long that it makes his kicks take just a hair longer than usual. Damian Priest walking across the top rope looked awesome, but Nakamura fell too early for his crossbody, so it looked like he was trying to dodge it instead of fall with it. And now, Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair had over a dozen security guards trying to keep them apart, but only one lowly little referee, showed up to try to stop Drew McIntyre. Okay, so, but it was overall a 3, but I'm going to bump it down to 2.5 because of the finish there. So, but MF, there's no question about it. This is definitely setting up Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest at WrestleMania. And if that's the case, I think Drew McIntyre will finally get over on Damian Priest, I believe.
Yeah. All right. So with that said, I agree with what you said there. So there's really nothing more to add. So next thing that we did have after all this was Carmelo Hayes going one-on-one. Randy Orton. Randy Orton wins the match. 11 minutes and 45 seconds. Very good match. Very good, solid fight. Nothing more to say there. But after Orton got the RKO and won, he was going to try to get a minute to, uh, Orton kind of got into a little bit of a ticked off face. Basically offered to try to, handshake him again. Next thing you know, it ended up being a disaster. Basically, the next thing you know, Orton gives Carmelo an RKO. Looked like he was gonna try to punt his head off, and then Kevin Owens showed up to pull Carmelo Hayes out of the ring, and we had a brawl. Owens, Orton, they started swinging. Anthony, this was a 3-star bout. Great matchup, but man, here we go.
There must have been something in the waters over in Spain with all these brawls tonight. Oh my God. I mean, holy hell, man. Let's see. The combination of Carmelo Hayes' agility and Randy Orton's power led to some fun moments as they put on an entertaining and competitive bout. The young upstart looked great against the 14-time world champion, but one RKO out of nowhere put him down for the pin. Orton offered a handshake, but Carmelo Hayes refused, so Orton hit a second RKO. He lined up for another punt, but he saw Kevin Owens and went after him instead. He chased KO out of the arena to end the segment. The crowd chanting along with Orton's punches in Spanish was a fun moment. Orton was doing some good selling for Hayes in this match. His facial expressions are always on point, and the springboard DDT Hayes used looked awesome. And couple of notable things. Earlier in the show, I couldn't help but notice that crowd in Spain singing along to Cody Rhodes' theme song, and which was special for me because we all know how much I love Cody Rhodes. Of course, that's my guy. MF, as we all know, is a major Randy Orton mark, and I know when MF heard Randy Orton's that crowd in Barcelona singing along to Randy Orton's theme song, I know that had to have I know that was a fun moment for you too, MF. So our two guys, our two favorite guys, got serenaded by the people of Barcelona. So special moment, the woes, and awesome. And then hearing the fans singing along with Orton's song, I mean, just as great. So that was really cool, and that's why that's another reason why we gotta love these international Euro crowds. I hope we get a good majority of them for Mania and after. So not much more here. 3.25, 3.5 stars. One of the top fights of the night for sure. That was until we got a special treat. A match that I can't believe we actually got on the show tonight, despite the fact that neither of these guys are under the Smackdown brand. One guy from Raw, and well, I'll just let MF tell you the rest. I mean, but MF, what a treat we got coming up next. Whoa.
Yeah, we actually had a non-title match. The World Heavyweight Champion Gunther goes one-on-one with one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Axiom. When it was all said and done, the winner of the bout, 9 minutes and 25 seconds, the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. Florio, it's yours.
What was that time again?
9:25.
Excellent match. 3 to 3.25. I could go higher and give it 3.5. This went from what could have been a throwaway match to being one of the best things we saw all night. The aerial antics of Axiom combined with the power game of Gunther to create a great dynamic. What Gunther seemed to think would be a delicious, quick squash ended up lasting through a commercial break into the next segment. The high flyer gave him more of a fight than he expected, which the crowd was loving. And then after surviving the golden ratio by Axiom, the Reign General destroyed him with some chops and a powerbomb to get the win. Axiom trying to chop Gunther was like watching a kitten try to slap a St. Bernard with its paw. It had no impact. Axiom's missile dropkick looked great because he propelled himself further than most would from that position. Gunther sold the hit perfectly. And back in NXT UK, there was a match between then when Gunther was known as Walter and Axiom was known as A-Kid that was just as good as what we saw here tonight. I know I might be overrating this, but I don't give a damn. This was a really good match. 3.25 to 3.5 stars. Very, very good match. You can make an argument for Fight of the Night Honors if you wanted to. That's how good this was. Axiom getting some hope, got a couple of hope spots in there. But at the end of the day, the outcome is never in doubt. But what a treat we got here tonight. The face of Raw versus one of the top young studs of NXT, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, and one half of currently, I believe, the best tag team in professional wrestling today in Fraxium. Just unbelievable, and what a fantastic match. Since we got to see, who knows, with SmackDown coming to England in a couple of weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Gunther go up against Nathan Frazier. Could you imagine what that would be like?
Oh, yeah.
That would be just as good. So 3.25, 3.5 stars. Very good match. And MF, give it up for Axiom. And I'll tell you what, there's no question about it in my mind. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Not just Axiom, but I believe Nathan Frazier will be main roster bound as well.
I agree with that. I think they did a fine job. I think they did a really good job with it. So, really nothing more to say. Yes. So, we'll wait and see how it plays out. But no doubt about it, man. This is going to be a very interesting thing. But, we're going to do it. So, next week, it was about a 3-star bout. No doubt about it. Okay, so next week on SmackDown from Italy, we're gonna have Jay Cargill versus Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega versus Piper Niven, Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu, and ladies and gentlemen, Italy, are you ready to acknowledge Roman Reigns, your tribal chief, will be in the building next week, next Friday night?
Bologna,
This is going to be nuts.
Bologna, Italy, man. Oh, I can't remember the last time there was any sort of show in Italy. I want to say it was that Monday Night Raw in April of 2007 when we were introduced to some guy named Santino Marella who did all right for us. That night when Santino Marella started as a fan and ended up winning the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. I think that's the last time I can recall a show in Italy. But well, I'll tell you what, MF. The Spaniards, Espanol, hey, España, you set the bar. You've already set the bar. So I'll tell you, MF, you put the Italianos on notice. We're like, okay. I can't wait to see how the Italianos do next week. You thought España was nuts? wait till you get to Italy. Wait till you get to Italy. Ooh-wee. That's gonna be fun. And it's looking good. Looks like a solid card here. And but I think the real highlight's Roman. I mean, what is that Italian crowd going to be like when the tribal chief shows up?
Yeah, no doubt.
That's going to be magic. And Heyman said some words. Heyman cut a brief little promo before the main event. And, well, we didn't really, get any answers or anything, but we all know Triple H and the creative team. We know what they're capable of. We know what their MO is, and that is long-term booking. So don't worry, we're getting that payoff soon enough. So Spain, you were great. You were fantastic. You set the bar for this tour. Italy, let's bring it next week.
All right. And with that said, we do lead us into the main event of the evening. It was for the WWE Tag Team Championships. The Street Profits going up against DIY, winners of the bout in 12 minutes and 45 seconds. And new WWE Tag Team Champions, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins. The Street Profits wins it all. Anthony Florio, history made. Unprecedented crowning. We got new tag team champions on this road to WrestleMania.
Would you believe, MF, that this is the Street Profits' first tag title reign in over 4 years? Can you believe it's been 4 years since these guys have had a tag team title reign of any sort? That's mind-boggling to me. But hey, better late than never. And I say that because Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins have been here before. But this feels like the start of something different. The tag titles have changed hands several times in recent months, so hopefully the Profits will have a long and fruitful reign. Ford pinned Gargano to win the titles in a fast-paced match that had the crowd on its feet. I could honestly call Fight of the Night on this. This was about 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. The Profits had a backstage confrontation with Legado del Fantasma. It's hard to tell if the Profits are looking to be full heels or if they are just trying to be more intense baby faces. And the way Angelo Dawkins propelled Tommaso Ciampa into Montez Ford's arms for a suplex was incredible. Great moment for the Street Profits. Congratulations to Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, the brand new WWE Tag Team Champions. And I look forward to seeing where this reign goes. So we'll see what happens. So I still think there's going to be some sort of multi-man, multi-team match at WrestleMania because of how crowded this tag title picture is. But nonetheless, congratulations, Street Profits. Well deserved. And 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Fight of the night for me. So MF, Street Profits, tag team champions their first tag title reign of any sort in over 4 years. I'm still scratching my head about that.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to figure out what to do with them, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle for a little while, and nobody really know what to do. Well, they found their niche and they found their path, and so good to see them on top of the world again. They absolutely deserve to be the tag team champions, and I'm so happy that it finally happened for them. Yeah, you could say it. Three and a half to near 4, but at the end of the day, it was a hell of a match. Incredible way to close it. And yeah, nothing more to say. Overall review, I give this about 7 out of 10. I think it was good for the most part. The crowd was amazing. Barcelona really lived up to the hype on this one. Like you said, Italy, you really got a show to follow. But Brussels, Belgium, you're next. Monday Night Raw coming up on Netflix on Monday. Man, this is gonna be nuts, but I can't wait to see it. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
And we get to see it live and in the afternoon too. How cool is that? So Monday afternoon Raw instead of Monday Night Raw for the next 3 weeks. For the next 3 weeks. So anyways, I'm actually going to be a little bit more generous on this, MF. I'm actually going to give this in excess of right around 7.5, teetering on 8 out of 10 for me. Tonight's SmackDown had its highs and lows, but this felt like a much more focused episode than we have seen in a few weeks. It felt like every major story was addressed in a way that made sense, especially when it came to feuds that could not be advanced due to an absence. The action tonight was solid, but the 2 matches that stood out the most were Gunther versus Axiom and DIY and the Street Profits for the tag team titles in the main event. Axiom looked fantastic in what was easily his biggest singles match to date. WWE could call him up tomorrow and he would fit right in. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins winning the WWE Tag Team Championship to close the show was surprising, but deserved. The tag titles have been bounced around a bit, so getting the belts back on a team that has deserved the spotlight for a long time felt right. All in all, it was a decent way to spend 3 hours on a Friday night. And the European crowds never fail to deliver. Barcelona sets the bar tonight. We'll see we got Brussels, Belgium coming up on Monday. And then next week, SmackDown in Bologna, Italy. And then SmackDown, or I should say Raw, on March 24th. From Glasgow, Scotland. That's good. And then after that, on March the 28th, SmackDown, London, England. And then Raw will close it out on March 31, also in London, England. And then they'll finally be back in the States. SmackDown, Friday night, April the 4th, from the IWC capital of the world, Chicago, Illinois. Oh, my goodness. We're going to be in for some wild crowds over the next several weeks, and we're going to be here for it. So, Barcelona, awesome job. Awesome. Muy caliente here tonight. So, Brussels, you're up. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you all have come Monday, especially when you get John Cena and Cody Rhodes together. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. So 7.5, teetering on 8. Very good show tonight, MF. Barcelona, well done. So, oh, man. You thought that crowd was nuts? Just imagine how these crowds are going to be for the next several weeks. Oh, my God. Not much more to say. Take us home, MF.
All right. And tomorrow on Sunday night, we'll be, like I said, at 9 p.m. We'll do our special Selection Sunday special for the NCAA tournament. And then on Tuesday is another edition of Ridiculously Raw. Thursday, we'll have special coverage of the NCAA tournament. We will give you our thoughts on the first 4 and some of the day 1 action. There could be bonus commentary too. You never know how these games may pan out. That'll be at 10:30. And then 1 week from tonight, another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. As we do another TNA, we'll have SmackDown Live, and we will go from there. And who knows, maybe bonus commentary on that as well with the NCAA tournament. So for Anthony Floyo, I am Michael Fletcher. We'll see you all on Sunday night. So long, everybody.
Goodbye.